So this is part 2 on behind the scenes for my fireworks show. And in this video, we're going to look into how I prepare each firework for the show itself. So let's get right into it. Alright, so the next step is I like to go ahead and pre-wire all my fireworks. So what I'll do is I'll run these igniters into the side of the box and then just tape them here. That way when I get to the shoot site, all I gotta do is plug them into the module and then we're good to go. Alright, so let me show you how to wire these into the firework. So what I like to do on these in particular, these come off the Ignite website. And they're actually meant to put the fuse in and just touch that bulb. But what I like to do is run them straight into the firework tube itself. So I'll cut right to the edge of that bulb. That way it's getting right up to the powder will be right up against the edge of it. Then you'll have to cut a hole in the box. Okay, then you find right here where your fuse goes in. Then you'll take a brass awl. Make sure it's brass, because if you use metal and you go in there and you stick a hole in it, somehow sparks, it's going to be a bad day for you. So you want to use brass, because brass will not spark. Right there next to the fuse, puncture a hole. Take your igniter, run it in, and then what we're going to do is we're going to grab a piece of tape, and then I'll tape it right here. We'll tape up this opening so this somehow doesn't bounce out. And then just tape that right to the side of the box. And something else I like to do for cleanup, let me adjust the camera here. I like to do this for cleanup purposes. So after the show's over, all this debris, all this paper and anything inside is going to be all over the ground. So what I like to do to kind of minimize the cleanup is go ahead and cut the tops of these boxes off. Because all it is just a thin sheet of paper. And just leave the top open. And that way, whenever you when you shoot them, after you shoot your show, you won't have all that debris laying all over the shoot site. I mean, you'll have a little bit from what's inside the tubes, but all the paper that's on top, you won't have that laying everywhere. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and do the rest of these, and then we'll pick up from there. Alright, so I got all the wires ran and the tops cut off. So the next step is I'm going to go in and I'm going to put a number on each wire. That way I know exactly where to plug them in once I get to the shoot site. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll go on to the next step. Alright, so I got them all numbered. Makes it easier to set up, like I said. And just whenever I get to the shoot site, I don't have to sit there and look through the list. They're all numbered on the wires and the box. And then I just plug them straight into the module, and it makes setup a breeze. So the next step is, what I like to do is prevent these from tipping over. So one way you can do that is either put a rod in the ground and tape it to it, or you can tape some cakes together to make them wider so they don't flip over. But what I like to do is I'll take plywood, cut them into strips, and then glue them to that plywood, so it keeps everything organized, plus keeps it from tipping over. So we'll go ahead and do that. I'll get them all glued to it, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alright, so we're going to jump to my other show here. Like I said in the previous video, this one's mostly hand fired. So we use a lot of canister shells, so I'll go over a few that we'll be using. This one is a new one that they just got in this year. It's called Let Freedom Ring. It's a 5-inch canister shell from Raccoon Fireworks. I love Raccoon. I have no doubt that this one's going to be awesome, but we'll test this one out this year. Probably do a few test fires and see how that one does. Got Peacock Spider. This is one they had this one last year. I did not get it, but it's another one from Raccoon Fireworks, another 5-inch canister shell. So we'll be excited to test that one out and see how that one goes. Of course, one of my favorites, Holy Mashiki. I have these in my show every year. I actually did a Firework Friday a few months ago on this one. These are great, so be excited to shoot them again. Here's another one that I did not see last year, so I think it's a newer one. Pyro 5-inch super shell. So I don't really know who it's from. I'm not sure. But anyway, we'll be testing that one out as well. Of course, I get these as well every year. The 5-inch canister shell. It's got the American flag on it from Raccoon. As you can tell, like Raccoon, they're phenomenal. But we'll be testing that one out too. And then G-Force. Now this one's from Wyndham Firework, and these are just a 4-inch shell. To be honest with you, there's not a big difference between the 4-inch and 5-inch, and I'll actually do a video pretty soon on the difference of the 4, 5, and 6-inch. And now they've actually got the 7s, which let me bring that one in here too. That's a new one they just come out with this year. It's the Slayer shells, 7-inch. If I'm not mistaken, I think these are overloads. So pretty excited to shoot them. I always love some good overloads. So what we're going to do is we're going to unbox these, take all the wrappers off of them, and just kind of minimize the cleanup, kind of like I do with the firework, or the cakes rather. Minimize the cleanup, less paper on the ground just means less time you got to spend the next day cleaning all the mess up. So we'll go through, take all the wrappers off, and then we'll move on from there. All right, so we'll kind of show you what I do to prepare for the canister shells. Once you get all the wrapping off, now what I'll end up doing is, so like I said, I'll pull all the wrappers off, and anything that's like that can come off that doesn't affect the shot, I'll take off as well. And like I said, that just helps minimize the cleanup. So what I'll do is I'll pull them out. Let me go ahead and set one to the side because I know I'll get in a big way and forget to leave one open. So what I'll do is just go through and peel this paper off right here. Kind of ahead of time, because you try to do this on the day of the show and you get a big hurry and rushed, and it's just a headache. So I've learned that the hard way. So get everything done early and you don't have to worry about it. So that's it. So you just basically get all that wrapping off. You don't want to pull the bottoms of these off because there's a piece of cardboard that's taped and it's holding all that lift charge, and it'll just spill everywhere. So probably leave the bottom on, but that's right there is as far as we'll go, and then throw it in a bucket and then move on to the next one. All right, I'm gonna show you something real quick. So if you decide to take the plastic off like I'm doing, and the paper around it, be careful. So this is only on the G-forces, but that's the only thing, the plastic was the only thing holding these in. So you got to be careful with that. So what I'll have to do is go back through and tape in each individual one of the G-forces. Now the rest of them seem like they had some kind of glue in there. It won't let me pull them out. So we're good on them. It's just the G-forces I'm going to have to go back through and tape. I just want to point that out in case anybody decides to do this.